everyone, this is Anna from Koala Soap, and today I'm going to be making a Santa Claus soap, or I'm going to try to. In here I have a little bit from our last video. I have some of the red glycerin from Red Strawberry that we didn't use. We're going to be using it for this. Basically how I'm going to do this is I took a ruler. I don't know if you can see the little lines here, and I basically measured out about an inch. And I made these little dots, these little lines here, so that I could see when I'm pouring and I don't go over. And that's where I started. So once I did this, I poured water up to whatever this level was, and then I measured it here. And then I put that amount of glycerin here. There's also going to be a middle part, which will be the belt, which I put here, which is approximately 6 ounces. And then we do have an embed that we're going to start making in here while this is starting to settle down. I'm going to be using Red Strawberry from StarDust Micas, a activated charcoal. We're going to use Peppermint because the red smells a little bit like peppermint already, so why not just keep it going. If I remember, the Bio Glitter, which sometimes I forget. We're also going to use a little bit of Gold Rush, which I already have here ready to go. So the first part that we're going to do is we're going to melt down this glycerin and we'll get it poured. Okay, and we're back. I went ahead and also melted down, I have about, probably about 3 ounces of melt and pour in here. I only need one of these cavities, and I don't need very much of it. I got these cookie cutters off of Amazon. Now, you can do this design without the cookie cutters, but those of you who know me and know how I cut, you know that I need help. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to use this middle one just yet, so I'm going to put it back here. I just need to make sure that I can cut out 4, which I can do. So that's our first part. And we can't do that just yet. So I have that melted down. We'll go ahead and work with this one first. So what I'm going to do is I have the Gold Rush in there, and I'm going to just add a little bit of alcohol. We're going to stir it nicely. Make sure you get all the powder mixed in there. We're going to add it. Oh wow, that's really gold, isn't it? We're going to add it to our glycerin. Now, because there's not so much in there, it can set up a little faster and you can develop a skin. I don't really think it would matter much with this design, but depending on how you feel about it, feel free to put it right back in the microwave if you want to. So we're going to mix it really well. And we're going to just pour into this cavity right here. And we don't need to fill the cavity up. We're going to set that aside over here. Squirt it with a little bit of alcohol. And now we're just going to let that set up. The next thing we're going to do is, I didn't add any red strawberry to this just yet. It still has a clump in there. I'm going to go ahead and put this back into the microwave for just a few minutes, actually a few seconds. And then we're going to add a little bit, I want it to be a little bit more red than what you're seeing there. And I'm going to see if I can't move this before it sets up too much. I'll be back. So we're back. There's no more clumps in there. I'm just curious, see how much it's coming in at. So 159 right now. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mix up just a little bit more of the red strawberry so we could get it just to be a little bit redder than it is right now. So I'm going to go ahead and pour a little bit of alcohol in there. Put this off to the side for a sec. Okay, I'm going to pour it in, make sure we get every last drop. right, we'll see what it's weighing in at now. Let's see. So we're at 145. So right now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to add some fragrance. Now this is going to be over 20 ounces, so I can add 5 mLs. Each of these is 3 mLs, and I'm only going to do half of one here. Or actually I'll do a whole. That's what I'll do. Because I'm not going to put very much in the other part, I don't think. I'm not sure yet. Make sure that's nicely mixed. So now I have these little marks here. My goal is to only put the red strawberry up to this part, because then we're going to do charcoal in the middle part. So I'm just going to try and keep my eye on it. And the good thing about this mold is I can pretty much see through it. So it's pretty rigid, but you can also see through it, which is really nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour. Okay, we're at the first part. So at this point I'm going to squirt it with some alcohol, and then we're going to let it harden. I need it to have a very thick skin because of our second layer that we're going to be doing here. What I'm going to do, and what I like to do, is I put a little ice pack underneath, and it helps it set faster. Glycerin will always set a little bit faster and get harder faster, develop a skin faster than your goat's milk or your opaque, like your shea butters, melt and pour. And so what I'll do is I'm just going to make it go a little bit faster by putting it on an ice pack. Okay, so here's my ice pack. I got these from Amazon too. And what's nice is I think it fits, I don't know if you can see this, but there's like a little lip here. And so this kind of sets a little bit in there. Not perfectly, but helps me center it pretty good. It actually helps it set a little bit faster. I don't know about how much it cuts the time down, but I like it. So we're going to go ahead and let this set. We'll come back and we'll do our second part. Okay, so this now has a bit of a skin on it. It's a thinner skin, but this will allow us to start getting this part, the second part, ready. I still have it on its little ice pack here. And we're going to go ahead and melt this down, and then we're going to put some activated charcoal in it. Okay, we have it melted down. And we're going to take our activated charcoal. I guess we can move this off a little bit here. Put this here. Now there is a chance you may need to add some more charcoal, but we'll see. We're going to play it by ear here. Be very careful not to spill any of this stuff anywhere. We'll never get rid of it, especially the black charcoal. So we are going to add a little bit more alcohol because it's a little chunky. And the alcohol evaporates off. So you don't have to worry about that. It will eventually just disappear. Okay, so now we're going to put it into our glycerin. Now actually I think we have a very nice black going on here, so I don't anticipate us having to do anything else. I am going to add probably another 2 cc's, so we'll have 4 cc's in here total of peppermint, because we added 2 to the red here and now I'm adding 2 to here, so that's fine. It's usually 5 mLs or cc's per pound. Let's see where I am. So we're at 153. What we're going to do is we're going to let this kind of just cool down a bit. We're going to let this harden up a bit. Then we'll come back. The most important thing I think for here is I'm using 99% alcohol, but if you use a lower percentage, like they have in the stores, I think it's like 91 to 94%, you want to really make sure that you make hatch marks, okay, especially when you're doing layers like this, because you want this to be able to grab onto something in there. So we're going to keep this on the ice, And then we're going to go ahead and add this on once this has to be under 135. If it's not, and that's why I did it now because it might take a little while to cool down. If it's not, it's going to pop through on this red. And then we're going to have a mixing going on that's not what we're going for in this design. So we'll be back when all of this cools down. Okay, I got tied up doing something else. So this had a really big skin on it, but it's workable. So we are at 128, which is fine. It's still pretty fluid, so I'm okay with that. Let me see. So we're going to go ahead and do our hash marks here. Just don't break through the skin. Squirt with alcohol. Make sure you get it in there. We're going to use a spatula. Now I have this marked for my next point, so let's hope this doesn't break through. Pour it very low. A little bit of skin, but let's just hope it works itself through there. Okay, I think we're good. I scraped a little here. I don't know if you saw that. So I want to make sure that that I can scrape up once it dries off. So I'm going to squirt this with some alcohol. It looks like it didn't pop through. I still have it on ice down here. Hopefully that helps it settle and not break through. So we have this done. The next thing we're going to do is when we're ready, we're going to re-warm this up to make this the final layer. Now I was hoping to leave a little bit of room up top because I wanted to put a little bit of white on top with some bio glitter, but we'll see how it goes. So for right now, let's just let this set and we'll be back. Okay, so while waiting for this to set, this has dried. So we're gonna do part 2, which is getting this embed ready. So there's actually 3 of these. I'm using the smallest 2 that came in this tin here with all these different sizes. And the only one I really care about is the middle size one right now. And I'm gonna actually cut it while it's still in the mold because with my luck, I'll try to cut it and it'll slide off. At least this way I know it's gonna stay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to cut through here. And while it's there, I'm gonna take this little one and I'm gonna find my middle point here as best you can. I just know that if I try to cut this out, I wouldn't do a good job. Now you can do this part without these little cutters. You can use a knife and you can measure or you just approximate and you'll be fine. Because it's a teaching video, I'm trying to make it as perfect as I possibly can, at least as far as I can do it. Okay, so we're gonna pull that out. We're gonna push that out. Okay, and there's one. And as you can see, it's still not perfect. There's a little bit extra on that side, but that's fine. So that's gonna be one buckle, and I have it stuck in there. So I'm gonna actually put this with my leftovers, and we'll use that on yet another project. So I'm gonna go to the next one here. And see, that's why we didn't fill it very full either. You see how thin this is? This is thin because you don't want this big embed. You don't need very much of this at all. So we're gonna push down again. so like I said, if you don't like any of these buckles, and honestly, I don't think people are really going to notice if they're not spot on perfect. Yeah, that one's fine. You know, don't be too hard on yourself. I think the design in itself is going to really stand out and people are really going to like it. So you're just going to wash these off with some warm soapy water. You'll have these at the side, and then save this because we have another soap that we're going to be using this on. And we'll be back. We're going to wait for this to get a thicker skin. We're going to melt this down, and then we'll be on our final layer. I don't know if you remember these soaps. These were the ones that we were using the vegetable peeler on our last video, and we had all this white left over. So what we're going to do is I have my little hand mixer with the whisk attachment, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to make a white top. I've left enough, oh, I don't want to move this too much. I left enough of a rim here so I should be able to cup it in there okay. So it's still a little, yeah, it's still a little wet, but it's going to take us a little time to get this ready. We're just going to play some music. This takes about, I don't know, about maybe 5 minutes or less to whip. This has a nice skin on it, so I'll make some little hatch marks. I guess I could try to make that now. Just make sure you don't pop through, but you can just do it real lightly. And then you're going to want to squirt your alcohol right before you scoop this in there. And you're going to need your little spatula for this part too. So I'm going to go ahead and get this melted down, and then we'll get started. Okay, so it is now done. We're going to go ahead and unmold it, and then we will cut. We're going to have some extra here on the side that just came off, so we'll just go ahead and put that back in our little thing there. So you want to pull it away from the sides, and then you want to carefully, because of your top, start squeezing on the bottom.